Okay, and welcome back to the Jack of the Shadows podcast. I am Eric VC along with my two brothers. Say hello again, boys.
Hello
Hi.
again.
Yeah, not everybody all at once. And today we will be covering chapters 31 to 36 of The Eye of the World. We'll start off, as always, with a view from Dragonmount, where we quickly summarize the events for these 6 chapters. We'll move on to What Shakes Your Willow, our favorite named segment.
I thought we were doing away with that this week.
We'll move on and have a little
timbers.
have a little competition in who wore it better, then explore the darker side of this week's chapters in Shadows on the Wall, followed by a little In Dreams, and then a new segment called The Royals. And we will end, as always, with our Coplin of the Week and Who Leveled Up.
So who wore it best is returning this week after a hiatus last week.
After a brief hiatus, yes, it's crawled its way back into our lives.
Well, didn't they? I mean, we know who wore it best last week.
Yes.
Me, I did.
Pretty easy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So last week we read chapters 25 to 30, spending time with all 3 companies. And this week we are reading chapters 31 to 36, just focusing on Rand and Matt. So a little bit of a change in these 6 chapters. I don't think we've gone this long since the company is split up, where we're just focusing on one party. So this begins with Rand and Matt becoming pseudo-gleemen for inns along the Coplin Road, and ends with the introduction of Loyal and his decision to join Rand and Matt. Along the way, Matt and Rand escape an unscrupulous innkeeper and a greasy dark friend through a crazy lightning strike. They are assisted and waylaid by friends and dark friends, and until they arrive in Coplin and meet Basil Gill at his inn. So that is the plot landscape for the week. Let's launch into a little What Shakes Your Willow. And since this is your
let's get a
favorite
round of applause for Eric there. That was pretty good.
This is a nice summation, yes.
Yeah, that's what happens when you actually write something out in advance.
That shakes my willow.
So, since your willow is already shaken, Adam, we'll let you start off here with your favorite moment from the week.
Mine?
Yeah.
So mine, like 2 weeks ago, is a bit complicated because my moment is Rand meeting this Ogier. It's a completely new creature that we learn about and we find, and he runs into him, and it's pretty amazing. He lays down some pretty interesting information, primarily what Taviran is, and apparently that's what Rand is, or he thinks Rand is. And he said some stuff.
Tasty tidbits.
So,
yeah, what sort of stuff that he said did you like?
he said sometimes the change sometimes the change chooses you, or the wheel chooses it for you, and sometimes the wheel bends a life thread or several threads in such a way that all the surrounding threads are forced to swirl around it, and these force other threads, and these force still others, and on and on. That first beating to making the web, that is Taviran, and there's nothing you can do to change it. So that's a lot of information right there, it seems like. So apparently he thinks that Rand is this person that just has everything goes through him in a sense. I don't know what that means. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, we learn at this point that the wheel of time is a weaver's wheel. It's a yarn wheel, spinning thread, as opposed to just a metaphor for time kind of moving forward. And that, everybody's life is a thread in the fabric, and that some threads are more important than others.
Yeah.
But the metaphor sort of breaks down here in that some threads essentially are like black holes or whirlpools that draw and force the weaving of the fabric to enmesh in some sort of pattern that this single thread that is Taviran is creating. So they're kind of like a weavers, there's a term for when a knot gets created in a pattern, and that's sort of what they are. They disrupt the overall pattern of the fabric to kind of conform to them.
Yeah, and yeah.
Which I mean, okay, so these characters that we're following are immensely significant. Not it really adds significance to the story because we're not talking about these people just being significant to this 1,300 page book, but to a giant scheme of time. So yeah. Loyal is an interesting character, and he obviously his knowledge kind of broadens our understanding of what we're enmeshed in.
Yeah, what you're talking about that's really interesting because he says if a man tries to change the direction of his life and the pattern has room for it, the wheel just takes it in. There's always room for small changes. So like regular people, they'll just maybe it'll fix itself or it'll just smooth out. But yeah, these are big. ta'veren seems to be a huge thing. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, these are obviously, it's not just the pebble in the pond type of thing and the pond goes around the pebble. It's more like a stream diverted in the pond, or rather, a path diverted in the stream, I should say. That's what these guys are doing, that it rejoins the stream. It's like someone sets up a dam and it reroutes the flow of water completely to a different direction before it joins back up. And that's what it seems like he's saying that Rand particularly is. I mean, we don't know about the rest of his married band of brothers, but he certainly is indicating that's what Rand is, and Loyal just seems to be, from this little interaction we have with him, which is not much. He's just like he's a wealth of knowledge, and I think it's perfect that this scene happens in a library because it's like Loyal is a pocket library in a library. So that's just cool writing for him to be, spouting off all this stuff in a place of learning, which is where obviously it seems like Loyal likes to hang out or whatever. But he's kind of forced it because everyone was scared of him. But I think it's just a cool mechanism that's used there.
Another interesting thing while we're kind of on this topic of ta'veren is that, Adam, you were talking about the flexibility of people to make various changes to their direction within the warp and weft of the fabric. Conversely, if you're ta'veren, it doesn't seem like you get much flexibility at all.
It doesn't seem like it.
Right. They are tied more to their fate than a common person would be. So it'll be interesting to see how, if they end up being ta'veren, which, I mean, at this point,
Rand for that matter.
They're right. Right. Yeah. They're the protagonists of this story, so we can probably safely assume that, there's something to this, how much fate is going to manipulate them and sort of poke and prod them into given directions. It's also a really good device as a writer. You have this built in, like, hey, they're tied to this, so they kind of have to live out this story. Yeah.
And then also, it seems just from his description of just what Ogier are, they seem a little bit like Ents.
Yes, yeah, no Tolkien in the boys' room this week, but they are definitely ancient creatures that keep sort of the narrative history of the world alive.
Well, yeah, and there's the comparison when he talks about the stump meeting, how long the stump meets.
Dave, what are you saying?
I was just saying to the Tolkien thing, they're talking about the narrative of the stump and how long the stump meets. As opposed to, Treebeard and how long they're discussing the fact that they were going to have a discussion. It's like the same sort of thing.
Well, right, and Loyal talks about the fact that when he left, they were still in conversation about his future with the within the setting, and they had been in conversation for like a year. So there's a lot of truth to that. It's analogous. Any other
I
thoughts?
like it though because it seems like you can. It seems like right off the bat that you just kind of should take his word for certain things because he seems pretty well read.
Yeah, I would say that there's some truth to that.
Yeah, and like that's the reason that he wanted to get out of where he was is because he read about all this stuff. It's a great character. I'm looking forward to hopefully spending some time with him. And just the description of how he looks is fantastic, especially when he smiles.
Yeah.
And
he's huge.
Yeah, and that is what shook it.
Along those lines, if we are kind of assuming that things kind of happen to Rand because he is Ta'veren, my what shook my willow this week was what in the world was that lightning strike when they are in the back of it's not the Queensman. What is the dancing cartman? Yeah, what happens in that little room that they're crammed into by Howell Goad?
Yeah, good one. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's really lucky,
Right.
I suppose, if you use the explanation that Loyal would offer that, he's an important character to the history of time, and so the world finds ways for him to escape.
Finds a way.
Yeah, right, exactly. Right.
Jeff Goldblum sponsored moment.
Right. So I mean, it's like really bad. Here they are, Matt is desperately banging against these iron bars that are in the window and barely ripping the nails out. The door is getting smashed down, and then all of a sudden, kablam. But nobody dies except for the bad guys.
Some of them, anyhow.
Right.
Right.
One of the interesting things is he just says like a way out. We need a way out, and then this thing happens. Yeah, very strange that they don't die.
Matt gets blinded.
Right. Yeah.
So there's that.
It's that they don't escape unscathed, but
thing.
yeah.
Right. It goes away. Like he recovers his sight with the help of a scarf.
Yeah, I have a question about this spot actually. Because there's someone is laughing uncontrollably right after that happens. After the lightning strike takes place, and then one of Matt or Rand is laughing uncontrollably. They notice. I think it's Rand. I couldn't tell if it was Rand or Matt that was laughing. And Rand makes a comment later that he's worried that he might be going crazy. So I was wondering if that was him.
Oh, and Adam, it answers. It took Rand a moment to realize he was laughing.
Yes.
So it says specifically who's laughing.
Yes. There you go, Adam.
So it is
Rand is laughing in hysteria.
That's interesting to me because he's questioning in his mind like
no.
What is going on?
It took Rand a moment to realize he was laughing. He being Matt. Matt's laughing and is on the edge of hysteria.
Oh, it's Matt that's laughing. Okay.
Because he can't believe
nice
he's just overawed by
again.
the whole situation that somehow they lived through the whole crazy lightning striking and yeah.
Well, that's really nice because Matt likes laughing and he hasn't laughed in a bit.
I don't.
No, I don't think it's.
I don't think
laughter.
it's Matt laughing. I don't think it's Matt laughing. I think it's Rand laughing.
No, it's
I think it is too. I don't know. Eric,
if you read the way it's written, it specifically says.
No, it says he peered toward Rand.
Is that you? You're alive. I thought we were both. He broke off, biting his lip and shaking.
Okay.
It took Rand a moment to realize he was laughing and on the edge of hysteria.
Okay. Yeah. So Matt goes a little bit crazy.
Yeah,
there,
he's
but,
going
I
a
mean,
bit bonkers
who
there.
wouldn't? They were almost dead.
Right.
Yeah.
And then something
We'll see
totally
what happens
bizarre happens
with all of that.
So that was, that was a moment. That to me was like completely, not really explainable, other than, it just seems like they get really lucky, which feels sort of cheap. But obviously, there's a lot of story left to go here. So, So that was my willowy moment of the week.
Yeah, it's interesting because later on, Rand, when he has his dream, it was like he asked if he's going mad. Yeah, good moment.
Good times.
Dave?
Mine's is just kind of a culmination of series of moments, and I was entitling it to myself, the kindness of the common folk, and it just went to. So these Two Rivers people have interesting opinions of everyone from the outside world. They don't like Tarn fairy folk. You know, they're a bunch of thieves and cheats and liars, and the Aes Sedai are who they are, and they're a bit, close-minded. But here we're seeing examples.
They sure don't like the Tinkers.
No. Here we're seeing examples of everybody else is who saves their butts here, who saves Matt and Rand, because you've got multiple people giving them rides. You've got people putting strangers up in their homes, allowing them to work, but letting them stay in their homes. And they, Matt and Rand repay them, through the flute and the juggling and whatnot. But you got people giving them scarves, people giving them rides, the guy taking them into Camelin after that whole conversation where we see the Fade and the shady innkeeper.
You get Elsie Grimwell flirting with them.
Yeah, Elsa Grimwell. Just so many examples that you would hope would let them to expand their worldview. And Matt doesn't seem to be able to, because clearly something's going on with Matt.
Matt's obviously getting poisoned by that dagger.
Yeah, he is. I don't know if it's the dagger. I don't know if it's being in Shader Logoth, that whole situation.
What do you know about Dark Friend?
Right, exactly. He's just saying stuff that's just so antagonistic at like any given moment to people who are showing him kindness. So I can only hope Rand's soaking it in.
Dealing with it pretty well. He's like Matt.
Well, except for the fact that at any given moment, either one of them is deathly ill. So it's hard to
no kidding.
It's hard to soak in, the generosity when you're trying to just stay alive.
To that point, it is interesting that Matt does pick up the slack for Rand when Rand is sick, and Rand picks up the slack for Matt. So it's a very, once again, Tolkien moment of, Sam and Frodo. Without the weird, slightly strange affection there.
Sam.
Yeah, exactly. I think and I hope that since Matt's unable to, seemingly, Rand is picking this up, but it's refreshing at least to see that the rest of the world really isn't, at least what we've experienced. Some of the world isn't like this way, because we've obviously seen quite a few different Dark Friends popping up here and there, but I thought it was cool just to see the common folk, as you were, coming through and helping out the fellow man.
I was a little more surprised when Matt helped Rand than Rand helping Matt. I mean, what we know of Rand's character, that's what he does. But with Matt, the direction that he's been going in for him to actually, pull himself together enough to actually help Rand, that was a bit surprising. Yeah. I mean, not unexpected, but still a little out of character for the trajectory that he's kind of headed on here.
He also needs him.
Hey, what I like about you bringing that up is I think it's a really good, there's a lot of wandering that is taking place. Not much action is happening between them, but it's very good.
Except for
that they are. I mean, yes, that there is action that takes place, but when they get out with the folk and they're wandering down the road and they're going into these farms, they're meeting all sorts of different people. So it's not only good people that they're meeting; they're also meeting people that are kind of screwing them. Yep. But it's just a great way to write a story that you're actually seeing different culture. You're seeing different sets of social circumstances,
and it's you're still engaged,
and then you're also getting all these stories from these people. It's fantastic. It's really good.
Yeah, you're still engaged, even though we don't have the action of, let's say, the chapters we had just previous to this. With Shader Logoth and all that madness going on, the trip down the river, and blah 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 blah. the poor foxes.
Yeah, Moraine just doing some stuff.
Yeah, you're still caught up because you don't know, these chapters could drag out in terms of, oh my gosh, they're just traveling down yet another road, wondering what they're going to do, what they're going to eat, But there's little nuggets in there that pop up that make you, interested. I mean, apart from, the exploding lightning and that sort of thing. But yeah, so that was my moment.
Let's not forget that one of the reasons why there's so many people on the road is because Logain is in Camelin. So you have this.
Yeah, that's interesting how it all culminates.
You have this, not real dragon, pretend dragon
false dragon,
who's been captured and is now being held in the capital city of the country or of the nation.
What was that? So they get there, and then Rand, like people are wearing these armbands.
We have no idea.
And
what that is.
Rand grabs whatever he spends.
He grabs one
the
of
little
each.
money he has to get some sort of covering for his sword. It's weird.
Yeah, it's like there's some weird War of the Roses or something going on here, and he
hedges his bets.
Cover the Heron blade for reasons that we'll kind of talk about here in a second. So
I like that it was mentioned though that it was hard to put. He's like, man, this was harder than I thought it would be to wrap around the Heron sword.
So
but he did it.
Let's do a little who wore it better. So in the truest sense of who wore it better, we've got two people here this week. I'm going to give us two descriptions here. Wow. It'll be obvious who both of these are. So we'll just need to pick one of the two. So for our first character, this man was sleekly fleshy with a soft look to his hands and a velvet coat and a dark green velvet cloak lined with blue silk and was slung around his shoulders.
Mr. Goad.
All of his clothes had an expensive cut to them. His shoes, soft velvet slippers, not boots, were not made for the rutted streets. No, that's it.
I know. I love that line.
Not made for the rutted streets.
I also love how they're just like looking at each other, and then he's just smirking at them.
Yeah. So Mr. Goad, and nobody will get this reference outside of these four pseudo walls. Totally reminds me of the bad guy in Smurfs and the Magic Flute.
Oh. Gargamel?
No, Gargamel isn't in Smurfs and the Magic Flute.
He's basically Bill from Oliver.
He's a big fat dude with a skinny goatee beard and he talks like this.
Oh, that guy.
And he's chasing.
But
he's trying to get the Magic
Flute.
Flute.
A fine perfume.
What was that guy's name?
And garlic. It was like Legree or something like that.
Yeah, it's Legree. I think that's what it was.
So that's who Goad remind. That's who I see when
Simon Legree.
No, not Simon Legree. We don't know that was the guy's name. I didn't have a chance to look it up.
Whatever. All
right.
It's a good comparison.
That was Matthew McCreep, by the way.
Matthew McCreep. Well, okay, so yeah, we were close.
Yeah.
Matthew McCreep.
But Johan.
Right. Yeah.
Kiwi was so annoying.
Johan.
So that's our first costume down the runway. Next, and this is a much briefer description. The pale green silk of her dress shimmered as she moved. Her cloak was a rich, soft gray, and a frothy net of lace caught up in her hair. She fingered a heavy gold necklace.
Mm-hmm.
This is the
and she looks
strange assassin
it's the mysterious
in the
lady. It's the no-named lady.
Right. Yes. Well, yeah. You don't remember her name when she throws a dagger at you or tries to thrust it into your ribs.
I love how quick that happened. She's like, "Hey, I can help out. I've had some."
The first time I read it, I had to go back and be like, "What? What just happened?"
Yeah.
So, all right. So, who wore it better? Which description do we like the more?
Oh, I'm going with fleshy.
I like the frothiness of her.
You like the frothiness of her jib?
Howell Goad's description just feels like I need to take a bath after hearing it.
I agree. I'm voting for Goad, so Goad wins 2-1 in this week's Who Wore It Better.
Why are you voting for Goad because of the soft shoes?
No, it's
No, I'm
everything
voting
about
for him
the
for
description just
for
makes
the
you feel
soft
gross.
look to his hands, actually, more than the shoes, Adam.
Wait, the what to his hand? Oh, the soft look.
The fleshiness.
Soft look.
He's well
to
moisturized.
his hands, right?
He's like, I need
Yes.
that lotion.
He's well.
No, I won't have anything to drink. Bring me lotion.
Yes. It puts the lotion
Exactly.
in the basket. All right.
All right.
So, shadows on the wall. Let's talk a little bit more about Mr. Howell Goad. Aside from the fact that he reminds me of Matthew McCree, is that the name of
Creep. Matthew McCreep.
Oh yeah, McCreep, of course. The
McCreep.
yes, the strange Irishman. He did not look Irish at all,
Hey, Matthew McCreep.
or Scottish.
No.
He looked Italian. Yeah. All right. So we meet Howell Goad, we meet Pater, and we meet the
Pater.
l'assassin.
There's one more.
Le femme fatale. Oh, who else did I miss?
We meet the innkeeper who
Well, yes.
talks with the Fade. We don't really meet him, but
Almond Bunt. No, I'm sorry. Holdwyn.
Yeah.
Holdwyn. In
Samuel Hick.
Craysford.
No, it's Samuel Hick. That's the bad one.
Okay.
The skinny innkeeper.
No. Adam is
dark
talking
guy.
about the innkeeper in Craysford outside the inn who is talking to the murderer.
That would be me, not Adam.
Or David is. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. The Sam Hake is
so
just
wait.
is just a
Wait,
jerk
so Howell
and a
goes.
thief.
By the way, Howell go. By the way, says to him, "I know what you are. Perhaps better than you do.
Right.
I can feel it coming from you in waves." What?
Yeah, and
What
that
can he feel coming from
He's
him in
picking up
waves?
something.
well, this
Is that
reinforces
is that what we find out later?
Yes, this reinforces Loyal's
Yeah.
hypothesis that they're Ta'Veren.
Well, Loyal has only conjectured so far that Rand is Ta'Veren. So it's interesting that,
But that's who he's saying it to. He's saying it to
well,
Rand.
we don't know.
Well, yeah,
He says coming
They're
from
both in
you
the room,
in
yeah.
waves. They're both there.
right.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah, true.
it could be both of them. They could be both Ta'Veren, even though Loyal has only specifically spoken to one person about this.
That's because Matt is slinking around.
Goad also mentions that it is written that when he wakes, the new Dreadlords will
Dreadlords, yeah.
praise him.
Whatever
Oh,
those
yeah.
are.
So
Didn't he basically make it seem like it could be him? Right, like they could be a dreadlord if they so choose.
yes, that's exactly what he's
Mhm.
what he's saying is
Yeah.
he's-
Whatever that is.
So, well, I mean,
It's
what
nothing good.
what could they be except like princes in the kingdom of evil? I mean, that's got to be it. And so that, I mean,
I like the word dreadlord.
these guys, these are our main characters are their status just continues to increase here throughout these 6 chapters. I mean, they're Ta'Veren, which means they're important not just in the moment, but also it sounds like in the history of time. They're possibly, chosen to be dreadlords, so they're what, like some sort of incredibly powerful demon or something, or
I think
like
every time the
something similar.
word Dreadlord is said in the background,
I get
Metallica's
2
Phantom
points.
Lord has to be played.
I get to level up every time I say Dreadlord. That's why I'm saying it as often as I can. I just said it again, actually. I don't know if you
Dreadlord.
noticed. Right? Yeah, you have to say
The
it that
Phantom
way.
Lord.
Dreadlord.
That was really loud.
It was supposed to be. Hopefully, it was also incredibly distorted. Yeah, so we get a ton of information on them from Goad and from their brief encounter with Goad, who also might be a pedophile. Well, I guess they're too old for him to be a pedophile, but he eyes them awfully strangely for an extended period.
It's an
of time.
uncomfortable moment.
He's
Yes.
just like smiling knowingly.
Knowingly, yeah, exactly.
Smiling,
Yeah.
leering. I believe
Yeah,
leering
he's-
would be the more appropriate description.
Gross.
Yes, that's probably the most appropriate. Gross.
Yeah,
It
he's
somehow sounded like
Ew.
Tim Allen right there, but
yeah.
And then we get the strange interaction with Pater, who's like, "Hey guys, I'm the cool dark friend."
Right, yeah.
Like,
Come on,
Don't-
man.
don't worry about it. I
Be
can
hip with me.
I'm
guys.
just here to talk. And then Matt's like, "We don't
Yeah,
like
like-
you." And then he blows up. Then he turns on a dime.
Yeah. Then he just loses his biscuits.
Well, yeah, because it's like, I'm here all by myself. There's nobody else. It's just me. So I'm just going to talk to
young.
you guys.
I'm cool.
Yeah, right.
I'm hip.
Right.
I'm with it.
So you just catch on my vibe, and we'll all go back to my crib, and we'll
Okay, now you're starting to get into creepy land now.
we'll hotbox for a couple of hours.
I have this older friend named Goad. He's
Right,
a cool
yeah.
guy.
He's really cool. We spend a lot of time alone together, taking baths.
He says he knows. He says he knows what happens in Four Kings.
Something really interesting happens there, though, because Rand puts his hands like Pater puts his hand on Rand, and then all of a sudden, all these dark images of like what he had been through start popping in his head.
Right.
So
Rand has some sort of hot flash
that's
there.
weird.
Yeah.
He's going through menopause.
Right. Yes. Well, he did just get struck by lightning, or at least stood somewhere relatively close to it. So his body chemistry is all messed up. Yeah, but he does channel some sort of there is some kind of moment there. So Pater also, and we also get this from the woman in the stable, the horsewoman, that there's obviously a network. I mean, I think we would have assumed that there was some sort of dark friend network.
They're talking.
The communication moves very quickly in a time when the only thing you have to communicate with is like pigeons.
Yeah.
Which
they'd probably have some
travel
pigeons,
fast, but
or ravens,
Yeah, right.
Or rats.
So the word is getting round, and Pater makes that pretty clear. And maybe
the lady in the horse stalls is none too pleased.
Well, before we move on to her, I have one other question about Pater, and that is like if Matt doesn't just become his antagonizing self, where does that end? Like, what is Pater's end game there? Is he just he's because he can't be warning them?
No, he's going to try to, like you said, he's trying to get all chummy with them to try to. Yeah. He's like the child catcher, man. He's in there dangling the candies and the treacle tarts, and he's like, eventually he's going to go down that road. Right? Yeah, like he's going to try to find some way to appeal to them. I'm a good guy. It's like the scene from Superbad where the guy's like, I'm a good guy.
He just doesn't realize that Rand is straight edge.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to lure him in with whatever, and Matt's abrasiveness actually works well for them.
Yes.
He's like, Pater is like, look, I have the softest shoes in town. How soft shoes are.
All right. So then we have the moment with the chick in the stable, and it's funny because like these major moments of violence, so different and so new.
He did. I caught that. I was amused.
Chicken mitt? What?
Did I hear a chicken mitt?
He did say the chick in the yes, but that's fine. We're rolling with it.
I said chick in the stable.
Yes, not chicken in the stable.
Not chicken mitt.
Wait, hold on.
Adam is making up words. It's like the oven mitt that you use to get chicken.
Let me take a moment to put on my chicken mitt. This requires.
Oh wait, you thought he said chicken mitt?
Yes. Which is like some weird German word.
I thought you were calling him out for his usage of the word
stable?
chick, and I was like, okay.
No.
But you heard chicken mitt. That's even more entertaining.
Yeah, anyhow, what
more
do you
random.
have to say about this chicken mitt?
Well, no, I was just saying that these moments of violence, Jordan just springs on us like when the Trolloc appears in the doorway of Rand and Tam's home. It's just there. I mean, they open up the door, or it knocks the door over, and blam, there's something giant and menacing. It's one of these things where you have to go back and read and be like, wait, did somebody just have an attack made on their life? Oh, yep, that's exactly what happened here.
Knives were thrown.
He's good with kabam, like out of nowhere. Well, and even the Pater thing. I mean, Pater just flips out. Well, of course, Rand does punch him in the nose. Yeah. So there is that. But
he inexplicably goes into a oh wait, they do.
He inexplicably freaks out after his nose has been broken. I can't imagine why.
What is that guy's problem?
But it's the escalation. It's like the build up. Rand just bops him in the nose. I mean, he just And Rand, as we've seen, is not usually a person of violence. He'll respond to the moment, but he's not normally the antagonist.
Unless he's had some kind of a headache that day, and then he's all flailing his sword around and threatening to, get into duels with people.
Right. So yeah, so that explodes out of nowhere. The woman just all of a sudden nearly killing them with the knife. How cool that knife
leaves
is
a burn mark in the wood. Yeah,
smoke on the water.
I wonder if it was her good knives.
Probably her best knives.
I would think so.
Yeah,
I don't think there are many smoking wood knives around anywhere.
But and also just the lightning, it just kaboom. Oh. These moments just
literally kaboom,
and they catch you by surprise.
Yeah. The lightning strike. The first time I read it, I had to go back and read it.
Right, I didn't know what happened.
Right, yes.
Which is perfect because they didn't know what happened.
Yeah. Exactly. It appropriately, literally comes out of the sky. All right,
right out of the chicken mitt.
Yeah. Out of the chicken mitt into the fire.
They just took a
What's
ride
with
on
the chicken? It is now time for everybody's favorite segment because I get to sing In Dreams, In Dreams.
Just before the dawn. Okay.
Don't worry, I'm not going to join in with that.
We wake to find that Rand has had another dream gone. This dream occurs in another different mind space. Like last time we had Perrin's dream, which started out in the kitchen as opposed to the castle in Thakandar. This dream occurs in some place where everything looks like there's a fisheye lens. So that's weird.
Very Gilliam.
Very Terry Gilliam, yes, right, yeah. Circa 12 Monkeys.
All his movies. Circa every movie.
Well, that's true. And then we reinforce the whole thing. Balsamon says, if my hounds must pull you down, they may not be gentle. They are jealous of what you will be. So this is another moment that reinforces the significance of these characters.
It's pretty crazy because it says like Rand could see the man's body crumble to dust for an instant. The burnt face held a look of sublime joy. I turned to horror.
Oh man, that scene
as if he had seen something waiting he did not expect.
Tell me you're not like I was just picturing like a scene out of Hellraiser there, like that.
Well, that's who I think Balsamon is Pinhead.
It's just like, but like so that guy's just babbling like his tongue, he has no tongue or whatever, and he's just like gibbering over there.
Goad? Are you talking about Goad?
Yeah, Goad.
Yes,
I just imagine he's got like no skin and he's like all just gross and just
Yeah, well, he has skin and it's all charred and peeling.
It's like splitting and just
yeah. He's and then, in some level of the Inferno.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's it. I just wanted to get my Inferno reference in there.
No, and then Balsamon also says something to Rand. He says they are jealous of what you will be once you bow to me.
Right. Yes.
Again, I'm like a dreadlord.
Yeah. Yep. They're obviously important.
Yeah.
And we're getting the sense that they're becoming more and more important. The stakes are getting raised here for this series. The Eye of the World gets mentioned again. So
we'll never serve him.
We're getting the use out of this title now, though we other than it being some kind of artifact, we really have no. I mean, what is that? It obviously has some kind of power that Balsamon doesn't want them to be able to use.
Right, exactly.
So he keeps telling
the Eye of the World is getting worked in. Like
he obviously does not know how to talk to teenagers. By the way, he keeps telling them they can't have it. Right? This book is not for
him,
you.
Like getting in front of the mirror, and he's like, "All right, I'm going to be talking to kids today.
Right?
What do the kids talk about?
No,
will they talk oaths?
Right." No, but he's like a parent from the 50s who doesn't know how to talk to kids because he keeps being like, hey, there's this really cool thing over here that's only for adults and you teenagers can't have it. What do you think they're going to do after that? They're going to be, oddly enough, they haven't reacted that way up to this point, which is, hey, how can we get our hands on this Eye of the World that everybody's talking about?
Everybody's talking about it. Everyone's talking about me.
This is a shorter dream. I don't know, other than learning that, once again, like he talks about the eye of the world and it compares, tells them that, or infers that they're important. And then once again, like it's obviously in some other space. So we're getting these different dream spaces now. I think we've had 3 different ones. We've had Perrin's, we have Rand's, and then we have, I guess, that common one where all of them are in that castle.
Well, interesting. There was the dream, but then there was also when Rand was delirious, and he's imagining all these people popping in and out. Egwene comes in talking about how he's deserted them and left them down, and Lan's making his statements, and Tom's making his statements, and everyone, all these people are, Rand,
they were making some serious.
Right, Rand weird. Is really plagued by, thoughts of abandoning his friends and, these kind of twisted viewpoints of how everyone's going to view him in this situation. So
the boy's got a guilt complex.
Yeah, he's got some issues.
Yeah, he sees the Murdral kind of killing them and chasing them.
He's just like sidling into the barn.
He's a sidler.
He's like, hey y'all.
But that moment seemed different. That didn't seem like a dream. That I think you appropriately described it as, coming out of a delusion and exhaustion. It's a fever dream as opposed to these other dreams,
right? Which are clearly,
which seem to be, something supernatural.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the royals. This, is a moment that I think, if you're kind of reading through this, you might not catch because it's literally just one guy prattling. But I think it's important that we get a little bit of an understanding of Camelin.
Long, by the way, Matt.
Yes,
Rand.
Lionel Richie is there too.
He was talking all night long. That's impressive. He should have a talk show.
I mean, look, how many of us have had long overnight rides where we've, turned the music up really loud and, sung along with the music. This is the Camelin Road version of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how many times it's said I'm a good Queen's man.
A lot.
Well, you hear that when they're in Camelin too.
Yeah. Enough almost to get arrested by those police in the back.
What does that mean?
Background.
First of all, who's this Morgase?
She's the queen.
The queen.
Yeah, I know.
I think he made that pretty clear.
It's just there's this queen.
Well, we don't know much about her other than the fact that she's there and he likes her.
She's a queen. She's a queen.
Right, such a queen. So we learn that Andor sends its daughters off to Tar Valon for training, and apparently its sons off to Tar Valon as well to train with the Warders. And then we learn that Morgase has come into power because of a death in the line where Luke apparently died in the Blight before he was ever anointed first Prince of the Sword, and Tigraine vanished.
Flat out disappears.
Ran off and they're presumed dead. And so
Luke was dealing with some other stuff though.
And
he had just had his hand cut off by his dad.
He had his hand cut off by his dad?
Who?
Luke, yes. I'm your father.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Right. That's a tough child. That's a tough childhood. So let's thoroughly confuse our audience.
I was even confused.
It's
and I'm
tough
part of
when
this
you're.
conversation.
It's tough when you're 6 and your dad cuts off your hand and doesn't explain why. Yeah.
Off your hand.
He mistook the call for applause at the end of the show and just cut off his son's hand instead. So this opens up an opportunity for
a remarriage, a new bloodline infusion.
Yeah, so then we get a damage read from Ilian? Kyrian, and Morgase just doesn't inherit the throne. It looks like she had to maneuver a little bit in order to get it.
With that, yeah. And I don't know Trakan, so I'm not sure what they. But yeah, and interesting. We also learned that Morgase has an Aes Sedai advisor. which
Yes.
the common guy doesn't really.
Oh, you
seem
mean
to take all that
those
much
Aes
well
Sedai
to.
witches?
Those Aes Sedai witches. Yes, you think he'd be from the Two Rivers.
Obviously, the prejudice against Aes Sedai is
Pretty thick everywhere.
Well, but it seems like there are pockets where, because remember, there are places where Lan and Moiraine have just separate names that they go by,
Right.
and there are other places where they don't.
Mr.
So,
Salas.
yeah, so
Master Andra.
it seems like there are some places where the prejudice is much stronger.
But
than
then the
others.
interesting thing is, like, they say something about it to Basil Gill, and he like won't put up with it. You know, he gets up in arms about it.
Yeah, so it also seems like Andor has some people who are very pro Aes Sedai, and then other people who are not.
Yeah.
So you have this leader. Well, she's an advisor to the Queen, and so now we can see where, if we remember back to Emond's Field, one of the things that they talked about were Aes Sedai manipulating seats of power. Well, here's somebody who is ideally positioned in order to do that. So you can see why people may not trust Aes Sedai, is if they're these sort of backroom deciders of policy who kind of keep their cards close to the vest, don't let people know the information that they have, and people think that, you know, essentially people think that they're they think they're Freemasons or, you know, Templars, Knights of the Templar, who are just manipulating and maneuvering things in the background. So of course you can see why
they're the Illuminati.
Yes, why people would not trust them.
Mm-hmm.
What is the name of this Aes Sedai?
This is Elida.
Elida, yes. So that is the royal court of Andor and Camelin.
Well, yeah.
Interesting.
I have a question though. So
Rich
Juicy,
and
yeah.
Compelling.
Right. What were you gonna follow that with?
Well, I don't know where when are we going to talk about old Tom Thumb?
I
don't
might want to be a bit more specific than that. Old Tom Maryland.
Oh, you mean Tom Maryland's story? Well, this is a good place for us to incorporate this, because we realize that he has some history. A bard here, right?
He was a court bard.
He was the court bard.
Yeah.
Which is funny because they're referring earlier about he kind of takes on airs, and he's well, there's a reason why. He's just not a normal Gleeman.
It's hard to, but it's also funny because Basil Gill also says, well, Gleeman kind of put on airs themselves, so it's hard to delineate, like, is he really more arrogant than most Gleeman, or is it just that most Gleeman are arrogant? But he has a reason for it.
Yeah, it's interesting though how he talks about Tom, because he's like, oh, you're saying Tom's dead?
We're getting the backstory, right? Yeah, he guffaws at that. That silly
He's
notion.
a harder man to kill than you might believe, is old Tom Maryland.
So are we believing at this point that Tom is probably still alive then, if he's this?
I don't know.
I mean, he's tangling with the Fade.
That's Steven Seagal.
I wonder
basically.
what adventures they went on that Tom is just like getting lit on fire, and he's like, hey. Afterwards, he's like, no, just to flush with him. Don't worry about it.
I don't know. We'll have to see, because Lan took down a Fade, and I'm not quite thinking that Tom is Lan. So,
but he was a court bard,
right? Well, yes, he's a court martial art bard,
and he has. Where does he get those fabulous toys?
Exactly,
he has those knives,
his best knives,
which we've seen him work wonders with. So,
I'm pulling that. I'm pulling for the fact that he's alive, but
he's dated a queen, so he's got that
no
going
big deal.
for him.
NBD.
Nice.
This is another one of these NBD moments,
right? Yeah, exactly. A queen which got him run out of town,
right,
on a rail. Or he fled before he was run out on a rail or hung. And that concludes that.
Some good.
With that morbid thought,
rich and compelling,
we'll move on to our Coplin of the week.
Yeah.
Well, we really, I mean, if we could branch outside of our major characters here to choose our Coplin of the week.
I don't think when we had a Coplin of the week, it doesn't have to be a major character.
All right, so I will let you two go first then.
Ooh. Wow.
So many wicked people to choose from.
Mine is Samuel Hick.
Samuel?
The skinny innkeeper.
Samuel, do you? The skinny, robbing innkeeper.
Yeah, he's the one that was talking to the Fade,
Because
right?
there's this Rand
Samuel is the
wondered
one
if
who wants to steal.
Oh, he wants to steal the sword.
He was
Yeah.
wringing his hands about it. And he was wiping his hands on his apron. And it says Rand wondered if more grime was coming off under the apron. or
He
his own
is
hand.
greasy with the Z.
He is
greasy.
dirty. He is a dirty man.
So greasy.
Greasy with a Z for sure.
But the nice thing about him is he's not very subtle. It becomes pretty obvious.
No.
Like Matt and Rand figure out very, very quickly exactly how that night is going to end.
Yeah, he's gross.
With a lightning blast. Yeah, he
He's
is gross. Who's
He's a
grosser,
slumlord.
him or Goad, though?
Well, see, you think that Samuel is greasy. I think Goad is greasy. I think Samuel is dusty.
I see.
and
I
dirty.
think there's a difference between greasy and slick. Goad is
Goat
slick.
is slick. He's not greasy.
He's not
Goat
greasy.
has some pomade.
Yes.
People
Yes.
used to use grease in their hair instead of pomade, but okay.
And not with a Z.
Right, not
Greasy.
right.
No,
he's not-
Well, who
he's
knows?
not
Maybe
like
that was a name
He's
brand
not a
that's
greaser.
been
It's
long
not like
forgotten.
He's wearing like really cuffed up denim. And
So
a
Adam's
white
going with
shirt
that. That's a
and,
good
like,
call.
Talking
Hey.
about
That's true. We know exactly what he was
You know.
wearing.
My Coplin. Oh, I can't say the names. I'm combining the two of
You're
them.
right. Yes, Conglin,
Ah, I was combining the two names into one.
Coplin, and Conglin.
Coplin and Conger.
it's the C word.
Conglin
I
of the
mean,
week.
it's Lucille Bluth's yacht. The
My
C
gosh.
word.
This is a tough one. Yeah, I'm going with Pater. Because
Why are you choosing me, dude? I'm the cool one.
he's
Yeah.
so
Why are you guys always dogging on Pater?
Dave. Like, no, Dave. Why are you choosing me?
Nah, dog.
Like, we can be cool.
yeah,
can be
we
cool.
can hang, man. We'll go take a bath
I
with
got
Goat. It'll be
surfboard.
fine. Yeah.
I brought the bubbles.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I don't like him.
Me either. I think it's a strong choice.
Yeah.
I'm voting for the incumbent, and that would be Matt Cowthen.
Oh.
Aside
He
from
really doesn't want to sell that dagger.
No, he does not.
No, right. We're starving here, dude. I really like
my
this dagger.
It's mine.
What?
My own.
Right, yes. Yeah.
You're saying aside from his redemptive moment,
He
which
does-
is a
right.
pretty large redemptive moment.
It is absolutely. It is absolutely. But
Agreed with Dave.
he just descends farther and farther into becoming an ass.
Yeah, well, I think it's greater than that. He's
Just
Something's
gonna
up with
he's
that.
becoming an antagonist.
he's gonna
Like,
sprout a donkey head pretty soon
Right,
and go
yeah.
running off Pleasure Island.
Yeah. Man, I want some of that candy on Pleasure Island.
He is. He's not heading in the right direction. We will see him very shortly on an after-school special, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Matt is no
who
longer
knows?
with us.
So that is my vote. So we split our vote three ways there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
good.
very solid choices.
Yeah, I mean we could have gone with there are just plenty of evil characters this week. So
Everybody's got choices.
everybody's got
I cheat to make
problems.
money. I'm stuck on this bread.
So who leveled up? Who scored
Ooh,
this
well,
week?
Yeah, this is an interesting question.
This isn't interesting.
Okay,
I
you two go
suspect
first.
Adam is going to go with a posthumous leveling up here. So, yeah, David, you can go first.
I'm like in the Beezy Twins
man.
interview scene. Aw. Gosh. I guess I'm gonna have to. I 3 weeks in a row. I'm have to go with Rand.
Yeah,
Ooh,
the guy who seemingly can call lightning from the sky. Why wouldn't
maybe.
you go with him?
And he just not only that, but the other weird thing, like, so he seemed to get really sick, but he got over that sickness really fast.
Yes, right. He
I don't
also
know what
has
that was.
thetans running through his body that can defeat illness.
Yeah, I mean, think about that.
Thetans?
He got
Did you say
really
thetans?
sick,
Yes, I
really
did.
fast, then got one.
He's like Tom Cruise.
He sweated it out, and then he was fine.
He is yeah.
And
He's
he's
a
the
big
one.
boy.
And he's the one pulling it together in the town. He's toting Matt along, keeping him from killing people. I mean, he's just He's for years my clear choice. I don't even know why it took me that long to think about it, but yeah.
He's a boss.
Yeah, that's my vote for the week too. I don't know what happened in that cellar, but whatever it is, it sure seemed to, happen at Rand's behest somehow. So we'll go with that.
Adam,
Nope,
you?
I'm not picking Rand.
I didn't think so. Can I guess who you're choosing?
Contrary-wise.
Yeah, sure.
I'm guessing
Guess
you're
who I'm
choosing
choosing.
Tom.
Yep.
Eric for the win!
I was going to guess that too.
I sensed you were digging yourself some Tom Maryland.
I am digging some Tom Maryland. What the heck?
Heck yeah!
The guy can't be killed apparently by this guy.
Right.
He's like, no big deal.
He's
No,
dating
not
queens and not the Freddie Mercury kind.
Yeah, no, that's Mr. Goad.
Right. Well, Mr. Goad might be a queen for all we know.
He was a court bard, which apparently is a big deal.
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, we just learned some new.
He got
stuff about
skills.
him.
He got
Who knows
skills.
what he's doing, but
He's saving his
That's my
nephew.
choice.
Well, he's trying to save
Tried to
his
save
nephew. He
his
didn't save his
didn't. I
nephew.
think it was a little too late in that plot.
He's
it was gonna be either Tom or Perrin, because apparently Perrin's real good with the girls.
Yes, I love it. It keeps going
everybody
on.
other than the male who's
it's
talking.
literally anybody.
Perrin would know how to handle this.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's-
Perrin.
I'm trying to think back, like in my life when I was younger, in my teenage years, and thinking about the girls that I was dating.
Long ago.
Like I was trying to figure out,
Back in my day.
did I ever think something like that? Was I ever like, man, I wish I was, my buddy Scott, or he would know what to do in this situation. I don't think I ever did, because we were all clueless.
We need the Killers singing in the background about when we were young.
Yeah, no. Wait, what song are you singing?
When we were young.
I
Thank
want
you.
to say something that I think is funny that.
But
that
wait.
he wrote.
There's more.
I want to say something that I think is funny. The stage is yours, Adam.
I think it's funny that he wrote that was written by our Lord and Master here, who's going to enslave us for this entire enjoyable reading of the books. But he mentioned something he calls ladies good wives.
What?
I think it's really funny. Good wives.
Who?
Yeah.
When?
And then
Where?
my favorite line from he's talking about good wives and play for your supper. Anyhow. Also, my favorite line from the week was he's talking about geese, and he says the goose waddled self-importantly. It's so good.
That is
It's so good. So hats off to Roberto.
The sentient goose led the Gosling
Waddled
self-importantly across the road.
That's
And
hysterical.
sometimes
Where
they
was
do. They're
that?
like, I'm a pretty goose.
Where was that? Where were they when this goose was waddling around with its
With airs of
with
grandeur.
its hands
They were hanging out.
thrust
They were
Bonapartely
hanging out
into
at
its
farms. They
coat?
were hanging out at farms and working,
Okay.
and maybe getting paid for it. Maybe getting given a scarf or some mittens or
Well,
something.
at the very
Don't worry
least,
about this.
at the very least, they're a couple of steps away from becoming trapeze artists at this point.
Yeah, they're skills.
They
I do
are
love how fast they
entertaining
actually,
lads,
Rand is
quick
just
learners.
playing that flute,
Right.
and then
Well, Matt's
Matt
juggling
is
like figure
Matt's like,
eights and
oh,
like
wait,
he's.
I'm
I'm
sure that this is a
flying,
comment
but
about
I think
their
I could
abilities
juggle
so
three
much as
balls.
what little these people have to be entertained by.
Man.
that these two fools can walk into an inn and keep people entertained for several hours at a
Thank goodness
time.
for them that they can.
yeah,
Otherwise they'd be
I know.
sleeping under a
I mean,
hedge.
Rand is playing three maids in a meadow.
3 coins in a
maidens
fountain.
in a meadow.
3
Just
coins
doing
in
it.
a fountain.
Yes, he's playing 1940s American standards.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So that
that's
wraps up
That was my last
Another week.
tip of my.
That is a
brain.
self-important waddling, and that was funny.
We covered chapters 31 through 36 this week. Next week, we will cover chapters 37 through 42. So have a great week
Ooh.
until then.
Talk to you later.
Peace
Yeah.
out.
Bye.
Bye.